the AMA, I would like to welcome everybody to the 2012 AMA Land Speed Grand Championships. This is one of our 4 top events we have throughout the year, along with road race, dirt track, and hill climb, so we're real excited to be here.
The salt looks good, and I think the bike is all ready. So I got to air up the air shifter, and we'll fire it up and get out here on the warm-up area and put a little bit of time on it and get a little time on the ECM and make sure that the jetting is, you know, with the map is okay and the air fuel ratio is good, and then I think we'll take it out and give it its first run down the salt. Oh, that sounds like a leak. I wonder if that exhaust got that hot right there. Well, I got the heat shield stuff. I was wondering if he might have a piece of the tubing. Hey Tom, do you happen to have any of the Pingle air shifter line?
I buy it by the bag full.
That's correct. I was going to have Troy send me some line. It's one thing, you know, here at Bonneville, we always try to help each other out, and luck have it, Tom had some air line from the Pingle company, and we're going to be able to get our bike running. It's always one of those things that some things get overlooked, and you know, there's always little things that happen. So with Bonneville, it's always something. We got this Russell. It's a fire braid, and I didn't realize I put it where the turbo is. I didn't realize it was going to get that hot over on that side of the bike. It melted the air lines for the air shifter. Luckily, it's an easy fix.
Okay. I do have a lot of that. We probably just went over like that.
Yeah. That'll work. That'll work. I think I'm going to put that is aired up and it doesn't leak. You're going down through there and you go, okay, I'm getting ready to shift, and you look up there and the gauge is like, okay, I'm not going to shift this time unless I reach down and grab that lever.
She's a 65 model.
Get it at from 2 grand, it starts coming on the boost, it gets up to 3,500, and from 3,500 to 5,500 the boost and the attack are going just like this, and it's just like pa-cha, 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 and all of a sudden I look down and I'm like, wow, and I was at impound. So I gotta say, everything looked good. Right at 75 pounds of oil pressure after it's hot. What I want to do is I want to get Jan to look at it, and he can do the data acquisition, set the data acquisition, and then I want to go just make a run.
Yes, they frown upon stuff like that.
I'm like beside words. It's beyond awesome. It is. What I'll be doing is I'm going to do an attempt on the record, and I'll come up, they'll start me off, I'll go down the course, And if I feel that I've run as fast and qualified for the record on my down run, what I'll do, I'll go straight to impound. Then they will give me the okay to come back in the opposite direction. And then if I go faster than the record, then I'll go from there straight to impound. I can't go to the pits or that'll disqualify me. It ran really well. It came up to the 2 mile, and I think the blow-off valve opened up and it was losing boost. And so all I did was pull in the clutch and coast through, and it still coasted through after the mile at 132 miles an hour.
We ended up putting dual spark plugs in it. Wink helped me put the ignition system in it so I can time the front and rear cylinder. And every year for the last 3 years, we've gone a little faster and a little faster. Now we put the fairing on it. We're up in the 120 range, right? So we went to Speed Week and we set the record last week at 121 for the fuel record, which was pretty much fun for us. My wife is my pit crew and we do it together, so that's kind of fun. This week what we want to try and do is get up to like 125. We're going to try and bump it a little bit.
The weather here at Bonneville today, this is typical Bonneville. 1 minute we got the rain is pouring, and right now it's as calm. It's just like being out in the ocean. What we've got here right now though is actually pretty cool because it'll actually heal up some of the lumps, and it may make it look like it's a little soggy, but what it's going to do is this rain will actually heal the salt a little bit and it'll get it tighter together, and tomorrow we'll have actually a better course to run on. A lot of people, are thinking, oh my God, it's ruined. We might as well go home and all this other stuff. You hear all different kinds of stuff in the pits, but to me, this is just part of an experience at Bonneville.
121.3. And we're getting ready to call the boss and tell her we just got a record. Hi there, 121.3. Well, I got the second run in the rain. I thought I had a fuel leak there for a minute, right? Because all the water was coming up on me.
track has had so much water that there's no way that they can run today. They're hoping that they can run first thing tomorrow, but they're not even sure about that. I mean, if they get more rain today, we're done. So
we're just praying to the rain gods that they go easy on us now.
this stuff evaporates off pretty quick. It's kind of how it was, you know, created, was these rains come in and it levels everything out and settles it. So yeah, I don't know how much rain we got yesterday, but you know, you guys all saw it. I mean, there was 2 inches of water out there within 15 minutes.
So he said mile 5 to 4 is completely dry. 4 to 3 has
and that was
just little
last night,
puddles,
so it's probably drier now, but.
So I think tomorrow we should be able to get at least the mountain track and an abbreviated international track going. Today the mission is to keep as much traffic off the salt as we can so we do not damage the road to and from the pits.
Today we're going to have canoe racing. As you can see, you better stay away from the shark over here. Mother Nature spilled out a little bit of water on us last night, and of course, you know, coming to Bonneville for quite a few years, this is exactly what happens.
It is the Woodstock of motor racing because people are here to achieve something, not to compete against one another. I don't normally drive fast on the street, but out here, I'll just pin that thing and keep it pinned and make it happen. It's really hard to describe. I wouldn't call it a thrill so much, but it is extremely exciting. When it rains out here, it turns back into Lake Bonneville. The water doesn't sink into the salt. It has to either evaporate or it has to blow somewhere. And you can blow a huge amount of water for 2-3 miles from one location of the course to another just from the wind. Right, this sort of thing happens all the time, and sometimes the race is delayed for 2 or 3 days, but then you can come into Wendover, and today we're going to go see a bunch of ancient caves that are 15,000 years old.
Lake Bonneville was right up here. You're standing right on the shoreline. Lake Bonneville was at least brackish, if not fresh, good water. This was the high rent district. This was Park Avenue. There was vegetation right here. There was animals right here. People lived high on the hog. This was Fat City. The cave is only 120 feet deep. So if wintertime you move to the very back, you build a little fire and you're behind the fire and it's warm. You don't build a fire in the summer and it's cool. It's truly a magnificent dwelling. It probably never had more than 20 people, 30 people at the outside living in it at any one time. But it was in use for several thousand years. There would be periods of time it was not in use, then it comes back, they find it again, and wow, we're back in the high rent district. If you're driving to Salt Lake, you'll see straight lines on the mountains at various elevations. Those were the actual shorelines of Lake Bonneville, which stretched from about 25 miles into Idaho to 60 miles north of Arizona. There is no evidence whatsoever of boats around the Bonneville Lake. There are literally thousands of habitations around the big Bonneville Lake perimeter. Literally thousands of them. Most of the paintings are fairly low down, and they're only about 4 inches tall. This is Jukebox Cave. There is a dance floor in here, and I'm always looking for a lady to dance with when I go in. I haven't yet had a trip that I didn't dance. 1942 to 44, Wendover was a secret air base because that's where the Enola Gay was training to go to Japan with the atom bomb. They did not allow the airmen to go into Salt Lake. They could only go to Wendover. The young cowboys were off fighting in the Army. The young cowgirls were lonely, and there were all the young airmen looking for young ladies. So they made a dance floor in here. They packed up not a refrigerator. Remember the old Coke ice boxes you poured loose ice into? They packed one of those in here. They packed in a jukebox. They had electric lights, and they set a generator down there. I'm sure that the just had a lost generator someone in the Army just had misplaced. Having been in the military, I understand misplaced equipment.
Hi, I'm Tom Anderson, nicknamed Santa Claus. I still don't know why they call me Santa Claus. I've been trying for 50 years to figure that out. I love Bonneville. I heard about it when I was a kid on a skip station. You got to be old to understand a skip station. It was a KAAY, Little Rock, Arkansas. They were interviewing Mickey Thompson, and he was out here with the cars. He said, you ain't shit, basically, unless you've been to Bonneville. We're always trying to go fast, and old Ed Mayberry was like a father to me. He took me under his wings, and he taught us, our whole team, especially me, how to run the team, what to do, and how to go fast. I'll tell you a story about Ed. John Bonanno drove for Ed Mayberry, and he had a dual engine Triumph. During Speed Week, they're going through the measure, or they're taking off, going like this and that. John was just entering the time mile, and the oil line come off, and the oil, or it broke. Oil started running on John's leathers, and he caught fire. Not a big fire, but it was, you know, a little fire. And everybody said, "Geez, John, why don't you pull over and stop?" He goes, "I wasn't through the measured mile. Ed would have killed me, and everybody here would have killed me." So that's one of, but Ed taught us a lot. Tom Elrod, Warner Riley, and we learned from the old guys, and that's a big important thing to me. We were here in, I don't know what year it was. The Rocket Man Brown was here. He had a motorcycle with a rocket on it, and he was gonna, I mean, a rocket. It was like this big. He was gonna take it out and blast down the course, and we're all looking at it like, man. So anyway, this Mike from the Unknown Racers had some moonshine. So the night before we were gonna the Rocket Man was gonna take off, Mike started passing around this bottle of moonshine, and these Brits had never tasted it, and they were pouring like water glasses full of it and just drinking it. And I said, hey, you guys, this is pretty potent. Oh, we can handle it, we can handle it. Well, come to find out, they couldn't handle it. They were wiped out. Well, so that was funny. They were just oblivious. They couldn't hardly walk, talk, and they couldn't do anything. So anyway, they got over that. The next morning, Rocket Man Brown's gonna start this rocket up, and he had all of the stuff on like that. And we're sitting out on the track, and he started up, and it went one big poof, like you hold a blowtorch, and that was it. It never went. But he said, "Get back, cause it's gonna go to Bonneville." We all get back, kept getting back like that. He started up, and it went poof like that, one big cloud of smoke, and that was it. And then this guy walked up to him, Mike, and he goes, "I got something for you here, Mike." And the guy goes, "What's that?" "A box of Lucky Charms." And he gave it to him, and I thought that Rocket Man Brown was gonna, he was mad, but what could you say? It was so damn funny. So I stole that from Mike, and then I do this here, that Lucky Charms, when somebody blows up their engines, I give a box of Lucky Charms at the banquet, and it's, you can get it mad all you want. You broke down, and you know, I've given to myself every year when I break down.
You know, it's the last piece of amateur racing, you know, on the planet. It's just one of those things that we got to come up here and we got to take care of this salt for, you know, the people coming up in the future that want to be able to use this salt. It's all BLM ground, so what we have to do is we have to preserve it, use it, not abuse it.
Alright, Alter.
15 years old, and this is a Suzuki 125. We're hoping to get 80 miles an hour out here. This is my second time out here. Last year I was racing the 100 and I got 2 national records.
And what people don't understand, they come here for the first time, the rain hits, they get the full experience of Bonneville, but then on the way off the lake bed, they abuse the lake bed, tear it up. They think it's like a playground that you can just, you know, do donuts and tear up the salt, and you know, they don't understand. They're ignorant to the fact that what they're doing is breaking the surface, and there's a lot of water up underneath, and there's rivers that run under all this salt. But when the water is up on the top like this, the salt is very, very fragile. And what it does is, if you look out there, it looks like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. And those pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, when it has water up on top of it, it makes those pieces real fragile, and a vehicle goes across it, busts up all that salt, that real hard salt, and makes it mushy. And then all the flat pieces that we have that we like to race on, it makes them real bumpy. It makes them to where we can't manicure the salt enough. There's no way to move that much salt around. So what we have to do is let Mother Nature put the water out there. The wind blows the water across, the little ripples smooth out the salt, fill in all the little voids. Then when the water goes away, we have a super, super nice smooth surface to race on. Bike on the test ride this morning went perfect. It was beautiful. The thing never stopped, never changed the modes of the ECM. The ECM never shut down, and it ran flawlessly. So I think this run is going to be a pretty good run. I've run it Muroc, I've run it El Mirage, I've run it Bonneville. I had a chance to go to Australia and run Lake Garner, but that is the more I hear about it, that's the absolute, you know, hard place to ride and hard place to get to, and it almost sounds like you're not welcome if you're on a two-wheel vehicle. So the place that I'd really like to go, I'd like to go to New Zealand and run on the beach where Burt Munro ran on the beach. get air in that thing. That's a regulator at 160 pounds.
Yeah, their mine seems to run pretty close.
Well, I found this. This is the closest thing I could find.
Well, that's not 8. Hey, look at that. It ran really good. We got to pull the data. I don't think I was any more than 3/4 throttle though. It was spinning the tire the whole way. It felt like.
It sounded like it. It felt good though the way they ran.
Yeah.
No complaints there.
No.
All right.
No.
It kind of went down here. It sounded like you were missing a bit.
No, what it was doing, it was
Hitting the cover?
I was pedaling it because
Okay.
it was spinning like crazy. I get to run first thing in the morning because they didn't have enough time because the ambulance screwed up. They didn't have enough time to let me do my backup run.
So what was your speed?
163 on a 146 record. Now I got to start all over. So tomorrow, hopefully, we'll have better air and maybe a better track and it'll go faster. Thank you. More? Yeah. It's spinning it bad. If anything, I mean, it's still got the little groove right in the center. It ain't too bad. No. It's going, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's what they're hearing.
That's it.
They think it's sputtering and it's hitting the wastegate. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to maybe tomorrow, I know the salt will be a little bit better. I'm going to give it about maybe 3 clicks on here, and that'll be maybe a 1.5 pound more boost. This was the last mile right there, I can tell, because at the tack, the last mile, it was really close to about 6 grams.
Yep, 57.26
Yep.
roughly. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. Here we are at Bonneville, and this is Bonneville. We waited all day long. We got in line somewhere around noon. We waited all day long. At 7 o'clock, at about 1/4 we got to run. I qualified, put about 32 miles an hour on the record. The first full pass out of the bike. The bike ran excellent. I have no complaints. One little incident happened up at the starting line. I have a bad knee, and we fired the bike. We got the okay to go. I started to take off. I got up on the bike. My left knee went out of joint and buckled my leg, and I pretended to do a face plant without doing a face plant, and I put the left side of the bike into the salt and bent the pipe a little bit, broke the air gauge on the pingle shifter, and luck have it, John Yates at the line with us. He loaned us the gauge off of his bike. We put the gauge on, and I made my pass, but luck have it, we don't have enough time to do a backup run. So at first I was told, well, it's too bad, that's just the way the ball rolls. And so I talked to Delvine, and Delvine goes, you know what, you can get first chance at it first thing in the morning. So I was the last one to run tonight, and I'll be the first one to run in the morning. And hopefully this thing will run a little bit better. I'm going to put a little bit more gear in it, click it up probably about 3 or 4 more clicks on the boost, and try to put about 1.5 pounds more boost in it. And I think everything's going to be okay. I'll keep some ice on my hand. I've either fractured a bone in my hand or just knocked it out of place. We'll know in the morning. This hand's been broke up so many times that sometimes I don't know whether it's broke or not. So anyway, the fingers are working, so I only have to pull a clutch in one time. So anyway, we'll see what happens in the morning.